FundsIndia and CNBC-TV18 present Smart Moves, Smarter Money in association with CNBC Awaaz, CNBC Bajar.
India's wealth industry is transforming, and so is the role of the wealth advisor. From a product of single product selling to an era of multi-asset solutions, behavioral coaching, and technology-led insights, the independent financial advisor today stands at a critical crossroads. So, what will define the winners of the next decade? Is it discipline, diversification, digital maturity, or the ability to blend trust with high-quality advisory? Hello and welcome to FundsIndia and CNBC-TV18 presents Smart Moves, Smarter Money. I'm Ritu Bhandari. On this episode, we'll decode the future of wealth advisory in India with someone who works with financial advisors from across the country, Manish Gadhvi, CEO of the B2B business at FundsIndia. Welcome, Manish. We are going to put the spotlight on what it takes to build a future-ready, client-centric wealth advisory practice. So, Manish, first up, you are in touch with independent financial advisors from across India. I want to start with the ground reality. What are some of the big challenges that they face today, especially because we are in an environment where compliance is increasingly rising, where competition is increasing, and of course, customer expectations are also rising very, very rapidly.
Most IFAs or most mutual fund distributors are single man show or single woman show, right? They don't have a tech team, they don't have a research team, they might have a couple of people in ops, right? So really, when information or research in the AI world is so easy, right? Customers will expect better, and they're not equipped in terms of tech, they're not equipped in terms of research. So they'll have to pull up their socks and get their acts. So versus an institution which might, a wealth firm or a bank which might have all these capabilities, right? They lack on those areas. Even on things like client acquisition, they can't solve how do I acquire the next 500 customers and stuff like that. So really, they have these 3-4 challenges, and they'll have to work towards becoming better in those things.
The IFA community has really evolved in the last 10 to 15 years. Now, when you look back, how has the role of the IFA really evolved? They have gone from being single product sellers to, trying to be more holistic wealth advisors. So, what are some of the good things that you've seen, and where are some of them still stuck?
I think that the good thing is a lot of them understood way back in 2003 when I started, or 4 or 5, is when they moved on from insurance products to, or adopted mutual funds and SIPs, things like SIPs, right? Today, I think so, individual or distributors, MFDs or IFAs, as we, whatever you call them, command, I think so, more than 55-60% of the entire industry's equity AUM. Right. So they've done a fab job at that, and they've evolved from insurance or a postal savings product to something which is market linked, not assured returns. What they're stuck at is, I think so, the whole width of the products they could sell or can sell, but they don't know how to navigate that. We are trying to educate them on 15 more products other than just mutual funds. And within mutual funds, when you have 50 AMCs, 13, 14 types of equity funds and debt and hybrid, that itself looks very complex. When you add 15 more products, it becomes even more complex, and you need a lot of research and a lot of tech. So I think so the next jump will be a little more challenging. Mutual funds was relatively easy, 1,000 rupees SIP. What they've also done is not just sell these solutions, but link those to the customer's goals, right? Retirement, marriage, or education of their children. So it's not just now, selling SIPs or NFOs. It's become more like a financial planning kind of work they do with their customers, and it's holistic in that way. But it's still not complete because they miss out on so many other products which are all regulated products, right? So yeah, the next thing is from an insurance agent to, let's say, insurance plus mutual funds, then from there to, you know, truly multi-product, multi-asset across the length and breadth of the entire financial product spectrum. I think so. That's what we are trying to build, or they should become. I mean,
you know, in your research, what are some of the behavioral changes that you've seen, or some prohibitive behaviors or product biases that IFAs often have that limit their own growth and hurt their business unintentionally? And how are you at FundsIndia helping them overcome some of these barriers?
So there are a couple of biases or barriers, I would call them. So one is they think mutual fund ही सही है और कुछ, you know, doesn't make sense. What they should realize is that the same firms will launch SIFs, are managing PMSs, are managing AIFs. So it's not different firms, it's the same firm. But that IFA community thinks only one of the things that an asset management company does is good versus, you know, the others are not that great, which is a bias or a misconception which we are trying to solve. The other is, you know, everything should be equity, right? That to Indian equities. That's a bias. You know, people need debt, people need gold, people need to invest outside India, people need regular income from real estate, REITs, InvITs. So, you know, these are, I mean, this biasness towards only equities, only Indian equities, and not looking at anything else, right, other than equities, I don't think that is a good thing for an investor who's dealing with this distributor, right? So they should truly understand what diversification is across asset classes, geographies, across products, and each of these products is unique. The regulation on those products are different, right? So they are structurally different. What they deliver to the customer is different. Their expectations, what you can expect from each of these products is very, very different, right? So it's not really, if something is similar, or if something is like 80% overlap, then it doesn't make, but these are not same products. So yeah, these are a couple of biases.
And at FundsIndia, how are you helping IFAs manage the portfolios better and perhaps do tasks in minutes that used to take hours or even days earlier?
Let's say you meet a customer who is most likely to have an existing mutual fund portfolio, existing mutual fund distributor, or maybe DIY, right? What you have to demonstrate to them is, what we try to demonstrate to them is, has your portfolio outperformed a passive index like a Nifty 500? If you ask this to any investor, what they'll say is they don't know, because most of them would not know. So you're investing in SIPs and you're invested in 10, 15 funds, but have you done better than a passive 500, Nifty 500, broader index like that, right? Most of them would know. So what we try to do is we have a report where this report gets made in 2 minutes. Like, it will analyze your entire historical transactions, which could run in hundreds or thousands, in 2 minutes. It will tell you whether you outperformed or not. And that's important, because when you invest in active funds, you're expecting outperformance. And sometimes it's an eye-opening report for a lot of people. So then you have to say, how can you generate better alpha? How can you do better? And 2-3% extra will really change somebody's life. Like, if you have 1 crore of rupees today, for the next 25 years, it will become probably 17 crores at 12%. You generate 16, it will become 41.
Wow.
So, you know, if you really, for every 1%, if you really work hard, explain how that is important in long term to customers will listen. And this happens in a couple of minutes on our platform.
Fantastic. Wonderful to hear that. Well, on that note, we are going to head into a short break right now. From rising expectations to rising complexity, IFAs today are navigating more than ever before. After the break, we are going to shift gears and talk scale, capability building, and the decade ahead for India's wealth advisors. Stay with us on CNBC-TV18.
Funds India and CNBC-TV18 present Smart Moves, Smarter Money in association with CNBC Awaaz, CNBC Bajar. Funds India and CNBC-TV18 present Smart Moves, Smarter Money in association with CNBC Awaaz, CNBC Bajar.
Welcome back. You are watching Funds India and CNBC-TV18 presents Smart Moves, Smarter Money. Before the break, we unpacked the shift from distribution to true wealth advisory. Now let's focus on scale, capability and the future, and let's figure out what IFAs must do to stay relevant in the next decade. Now, Manish, there are many wealth advisory platforms out there today. What is Funds India's secret sauce? Why should IFAs choose you over the others? What's your distinctive USP that you're offering them?
So we're not too old, we're not too young, and that's a good place to be. And what we'll try to do, or what we are trying to do, is be customer centric. Most firms, don't really factor that in well. They're revenue first, customer later. Customer doesn't understand performance, impact of fees and stuff like that. We want to really manage everybody's money as if it's our money. And to IFAs, our proposition is that we'll help you transition from being a mutual fund distributor to a wealth manager, multi-product, multi-asset. We'll provide you the best research, we'll provide you the best tools, we'll provide you the best tech, make your life really easy so that you do more client meetings, less of ops or less of, time with, paperwork and, And if every IFA can do a couple of meetings more, if we save them time, that's priceless, right? So unbiased, transparent, customer centric, no product bias, no manufacturer bias, and make the customer and the investor's life easy by curating your research, your products, and making tech easier enough for everybody to transact. So if you do these 2-3 things right, we are trying to do those 2-3 things right, and I think so most IFAs will realize the value of our platform once they deal with us.
Right. And platform choice is just a starting point. There is also the capability building that has to happen for IFAs to be future ready. So in that sense, how are you helping them keep things simple, keep things holistic, while also getting very sharp insights? You mentioned about the research, but other than that, what are the other skill sets that you're helping them build, and how are you doing that?
You need a couple of certifications to do the really full range of products, financial products to a customer. SIF exam, PMS exam, mutual fund of source you have to clear that exam. So 3 certifications. You need to learn about debt market. There is a course, in ISM there is a lot of such courses, AIFs and stuff like that. These 3 exams are mandatory, but we'll try to, there are 7-8 modules which we think everybody should go through. That is just the knowledge or the, certification part. Then you need, let's say, if I ask you to create, if I ask somebody to create a portfolio for a 3 crore customer. So we need to have such curated portfolios across all types of customers, not just 3 crores, but 30 lakhs, 3 crores, 30 crores, young, old, regular income, no income, stuff like that. So we will curate, we will make that investment journey really super smooth. And even in stuff, let's say there are so many bonds, so many mutual funds, so many AIFs. So we'll curate that for the IFA, and then that their life becomes simpler in terms of what they should offer to the customer. So 16, but not just keeping those products on your shelf, right? Rather curated what I think I should keep on my shelf, right? That is important, and we do that. So 90% of elimination work we do at our end, right. And really give them a couple of choices on each of those categories. That's what we'll, so their life will become much simpler. And thinking through how each of these product is different and why it's more like a complementary product to what you let's say you own mutual funds. Why would a SIF be a complementary product, not a competing product? Why would a PMS be a complementary product, not a competing? Why would an AIF be? So you have to really explain that to the IFA and to the customer. And once you know how to do that well, I think so that's the best thing you can do for an investor. Yeah.
Right. And let's also talk about the big mindset shift needed for the next decade. Now, the mindset that has got them till here is perhaps not the mindset that's going to get them through the next decade and keep them relevant.
Yeah.
So, give us a few tips of the mindset shift, the skill shift that an IFA needs to remain relevant for the next 10 to 15 years. And at Funds India, what are you doing to help them through this?
So the first phase of wealth creation, right, is done almost, which is that most people used to invest in fixed deposits or postal schemes, stuff like that, right, which used to generate 7% odd returns. Now, thanks to mutual funds and most customers could be generating about 12% returns. So that 7 to 12 journey is at least done.
For most people.
For most people. But you can still do 12 to 16. Right? To give you an example, if you have 3 crore rupees today and you invest for the next 25 years, at 12% it will become 51 odd crores. At 16 it will become 122. So that's not really tough. To generate that 4% extra is not really tough. But what you need to know is how you'll get that 4 extra and have conviction on that. Right? So the mindsets or the skills needed for that is really this, what we've been talking about. How do you learn more products, get more certified on that? How do you stitch that together and create a really good portfolio, which will do 16 instead of 12? So we are in, that's what we're trying to do.
Right. So let's wrap with something that every advisor can implement immediately after switching off this program. So if you had to give an IFA, let's say, a 3-step framework or a roadmap to cleaning up their existing portfolio, adopting tech, reaching the breadth of the products that are available, what would that roadmap look like?
I mean, A is join us, right? B is, really, do a couple of portfolio reviews for a couple of your customers and see whether, they're beating benchmarks. Ask yourself whether that's a good thing, for the customer or not. And then, get certified, learn, take baby steps. Mutual funds happened the same way. Somebody did their first SIP in 2005. Today might be sitting on a 500 crore. So in all these products, what you need to do is one experience, one real life example, and really trust some of the institutions who are managing these products. They are credible institutions. There is a track record of all these products. There is not, and barring SIFs, I think so, PMS, AIFs, NCDs, there's a good amount of track record data. Trust that. Just because you are not familiar with something, that doesn't mean it's risky. So trust us, trust these institutions which manage the money, and really take that bold step of trying to generate 16 instead of 12. So join us, get these, we'll help them clear these exams, we'll help them take these baby steps, and then,
Right. And one final question. India has the demographic dividend advantage. More than 65% of our country is currently under the age of 35 years. So that's a huge, huge young population that we're looking at when it comes to the investor base. Now, in this, given this demographic and given that we are in the digital era, should IFAs be rethinking their communication strategies, their digital engagement with this young consumer base? Any tips on how to do that?
What has changed, which I feel has changed from my generation to now is, the aspirations were like I should have my own house or a car or I'll retire peacefully. Today, I think so the generation probably will have different aspirations. So you need to understand that, how that has changed. Because, most current young ones would have their father's or their parents' house. So they're not really worried about a couple of things which we were worried about. So really understand what their aspirations are and then help them plan that better. I think so, rather than using that, decades-old book which says that retirement, house, marriage. So understand that better and probably plan for that.
Gen Z investors
Yeah,
use
so,
financial independence and retire early.
Correct. And maybe somebody is planning to, start his own venture and, travel the world very early, not ever get married. And, that's how it has changed from my generation to now. And I think so you understand that. All of that also would need planning. Understanding what their aspirations are. And then, using your skills to help them achieve whatever those aspirations are. I think so that's the only change which IFAs should do. Not keep repeating just the mundane stuff, but maybe understand that there is something else out there other than retirement and stuff like that. Yeah, just understand that well. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Manish. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you, brother.
Well, the wealth advisory profession in India is entering its next big phase, one where trust matters more than ever, technology is non-negotiable, and disciplined, holistic investing becomes the true differentiator. For independent financial advisors, the opportunity is massive, but so is the responsibility. Thank you for joining us on Smart Moves, Smarter Money. News and updates continue on CNBC-TV18. Until next time, goodbye.
Funds India and CNBC-TV18 present Smart Moves, Smarter Money in association with CNBC-TV18, CNBC Bajar.